So did that programme pay off? We'll find out as Stephen gives us the business. Wall Street, you're starting, aren't you? Technology shares having a bad day.
Yeah, it's been called a tech wreck. More than $125 billion wiped off 5 big technology companies. In a 2-day sell-off that began on Friday, the Nasdaq index, where many of these firms are listed, had its worst 2 days of the year. The biggest loser was Apple, which had more than $50 billion wiped off its market value. Facebook, Amazon, Google and Netflix were hit as well. Essentially, investors have been taking profits after big gains in these shares in recent months. It's being seen by many market experts as a correction in their prices. Still painful for many investors, though. Apple lost over 6% over those 2 days. Google's parent company Alphabet down some 4%, while Netflix has lost almost 9% since Friday.
Affecting trading in Asia, I suspect?
Now, Asian technology companies have seen a little more steady picture today. They had seen losses on Monday. Generally speaking, market experts say that Asian technology companies aren't seen as suffering from the same problem of being overvalued. So they're not as vulnerable to these sort of market moves. Generally speaking, across the Asian markets, we've got gains. As you can see, the biggest percentage gain on the Kospi in Seoul, up by almost 1/3%.
Now, let's turn to a push by Angela Merkel. This is to whip up economic growth in Africa.
She's been taking part in a conference in Berlin with 10 African leaders. Now, it is the world's youngest continent, and Charles Pellegrin now reports on what it could be in it for both African countries and their potential investors.
Supporting economic growth on the African continent could be more than just a helping hand. Angela Merkel believes it would slow the influx of migrants coming to Europe and hurt the human traffickers who benefit from it.
So if we work with you, creating opportunities for your countries, we will have even more security, and we can also put an end to the illegal practices of people who earn money with human trafficking.
The demographics of the continent are adding pressure. More than half of all Africans are under 25 years old, and the population of 1.2 billion people is set to double by 2050. The president of the Ivory Coast thinks massive infrastructure spending would provide people with jobs.
We need roads and railways throughout the country. That's what allowed Europe to make progress. And we're hoping for similar investments for the African continent.
Merkel's plan would see African nations which make a pledge to reform team up with G20 countries and private investors willing to share their technical expertise. In addition, Berlin is offering 300 million euros in aid to countries that fight corruption, protect human rights, and set up transparent tax systems. Rwanda's president expects that will help boost the already improving business conditions.
The third task is to work together to dispel the notion that Africa is inherently riskier than other developing markets.
Some observers criticize this compact for Africa for its lack of concrete aid commitments. Its proponents, however, believe it could boost prosperity.
Turning next to Uber and the latest changes at the company there, it's lost another senior executive from its ranks. The ride-sharing firm's chief business officer, Emil Michael, is leaving the firm. That news coming just before a report is due to be released recommending changes to Uber's culture and management. Now, the company's board is said to have accepted all of the measures proposed in the report, which was written by the former US Attorney General Eric Holder. Reports also suggesting today that Uber's CEO, Travis Kalanick, may also take a leave of absence from the firm.
Now, finally from Stephen, a major butter shortage in France. What could that cause, possibly? I bet you could guess. A croissant crisis.
Exactly. What a terrifying thought that is.
It is.
Especially at breakfast time. Dairy industry groups are calling it a major crisis in the industry as the price of butter has risen by more than 2/3 in a year. Wholesale prices are at a record high because of a shortage of milk. Now, that's due to increased demand from Asian consumers for French milk. Could be bad news for croissant fans, though. The pastries are a quarter made from butter, and bakers say that prices could rise sharply as a result. The French Bakers Association has called on dairy producers to prioritise butter in their production and, of course, save us all from a croissant crisis.
Yeah, exactly. I hope they sort it out. It would be a major,
we won't be
disaster.
here tomorrow, yeah.
No, exactly. We'll be off air. Steve with business on France 24.